we hear a lot of people that before their move say, yeah, I know French people are arrogant, so there's no point in trying to socialize with them. Learning Finnish is the hardest thing ever. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Or moving and living in Africa is so dangerous. You can't do it with small kids. All kind of assumption that people have. And I'm sorry, but when you're Googling and you're going on Facebook, in all those expat groups, this is what you hear, all those prejudices.
Because let's face it, people love to share their bad experiences and they love to make generalization of a situation. So today I wanted to talk to you about a subject that is very close to our heart, because we hear and we see a lot of posts online about this topic. So I want to ask you something. Are you currently thinking that you know everything about the place you're moving to, everything about the people that are going to live there, and everything exactly how it's going to happen?
Well, if you do, boy, you are in trouble. And we say to you with all the positivity that we can.
With a big smile.
But actually, all those prejudice that you have about a certain place or people that live in it is actually preventing you from living the life like you want to live. And we're going to explain a little bit more in a second. But first, we want to, share with you some examples from our lives and things that we see and hear, talking to women from all over the world all the time for the last couple of years now. We hear a lot of people that before their move say, yeah, I know French people are arrogant, so there's no point in trying to socialize with them. Learning Finnish is the hardest thing ever. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Or moving and living in Africa is so dangerous. You can't do it with small kids. All kind of assumption that people have. And I'm sorry, but when you're Googling and you're going on Facebook, in all those expat groups, this is what you hear, all those prejudice.
Because let's face it, people love to share their bad experiences and they love to make generalization of a situation. So if we'll take the example of it's dangerous to live in a certain place, people will say, I had one experience that was dangerous and now the country is dangerous, the people are horrible, no one helps me, everything is super bad. Because this is what we do. And if you think about that in your day-to-day life, even before moving abroad, we always say that expat life is exactly the same things that you deal with in your normal life, but there is this extra layer of challenges. Well, it's the same thing. If you think of your normal life, if you think of work, if you think of dating, if you think of relationship, if you think of friendships, we always have situations where we hear those assumptions.
Yeah.
Right? And they are based on someone else's experience that got into us and they made a belief in ourselves that this is the truth.
Yeah.
But is it for us? We got to check for ourselves before we decide this is exactly it.
Yes, absolutely. So this is the topic of our Coffee Talkie show this week. We hope you get your coffee or your tea with you. Maybe you have some notes if you want to write things down, things that you can remember for later. And let's get down to this topic of today, how prejudice can actually ruin your life abroad.
I want you to, as a start, to imagine two different type of scenarios, okay? One in which you're meeting a new person, okay? But this person is the best friend of your friend, and how you're approaching it. You're coming to a coffee place, you have your best friend there, and it's their really, really good friend is there as well. You heard so many good stories about this person and you're coming to have coffee with them. And imagine how you're feeling, how excited you are, your face, how it is, your smile, the topics that you want to talk about, right? You want to talk about funny stories. You want to talk about the good experience that you heard about them. You want to tell him that you're grateful that your friend and him have this like relationship together. The person that you come to this situation is a very positive, optimistic, full of excitement kind of person. And guess what? The situation you're going to get into is going to be amazing. But imagine the other way around. Imagine that you go for a coffee with two people, a really good friend of yours and one person that you heard so many bad things about. You heard how they hurt your friend. You heard how they treat their parents. You heard how they treat the waiter in the coffee places. And this is what you think of this person before you met them. And now you come to this coffee place. And I'll let you imagine how you are. And I'll tell it to you. Because I know each and every one of you listening to us right now and watching us can imagine how they are. Because you already went through similar situations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's exactly what prejudice are all about. Okay, so if you take it on a larger scale, the situation by definition is going to be different. The experience you're gonna have in those two coffee situations, even if it's exactly the same person sitting there, is going to be completely different because you come into the situation with a different approach. And life abroad is exactly the same thing.
And this is what we preach all the time. Come to a situation with a different approach, with an approach that can actually serve you and get you the situation that you want. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, of course, I don't know anyone that wants a bad situation, to be judged by someone else or to have a negative experience in a restaurant or in the supermarket or at the doctor's. I don't know anyone that wishes this, but when we come ready for a bad experience, we actually bring our energy, just like you said before, we bring our energy this way, and guess what? Most of the time, this is what it's going to happen. You can call it law of attraction, energy, faith, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. It's the energy that you bring to the table. This is what we eat,
Exactly. And it's you said before, like, no one wants a bad experience. Like, in the basic of our being, we don't want or aim for a bad experience. But how many times is it easier for us to let those beliefs, and we had another episode about limiting beliefs that we're really inviting you to go and listen to if you haven't until now. You can either find it on YouTube or on our podcast channel. But how many times those limiting beliefs of thinking that things are going to be bad are actually serving us in the wrong way, but are serving us? Because it's easier to say, yeah, I knew it's going to be a disaster. I knew it's going to be so hard. I knew I'm not going to be able to make local friends. I knew French people are arrogant. I knew it's going to be impossible for me to learn a language. But those beliefs that we have, those pre-assumptions, those thoughts that we have before we actually get to the challenge, they directly lead us to the results that we're going to get. So we don't want a bad experience, but by assuming we're prejudiced or somewhat maybe true prejudice for some people, we're actually limiting ourselves from the opportunity to experience it in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so true. And it's true and tragic because...
Yeah, but we all do that.
We see it all the time. People come saying, I'm sorry, stupid things about we're living in France, so it's easier for us to talk about French people because this is what we see. We see a lot of expats arriving to France saying horrible thing about French people, that they don't know English, that they are not social, that you can't talk to them, that they are rude, that they are impolite. I've heard it all, for real. And I'm like, isn't it true for all,
Humankind.
And I'm sure there are very, very nice French people. I know some of them. And I'm sure there are very arrogant, jerks. That's true in every country, It's not only because you're going to live in France or in Finland or I don't know what I have in Finland today. Or in Italy or, Let's go with the other way around. In Italy, all the men are machos, players. Is it really true? Could you, if you're a single lady and you're going to live in Italy, is it really true that all the men will trick you, to get you in bed? I don't think so.
No.
Is it true that Italian bureaucracy is so messy you can't do anything there?
No.
Okay, the proof for that is that millions of people are doing it, millions of people are dealing with Italian bureaucracy, French bureaucracy. There are even people that are coming to a new country, meeting someone, making a family with, a local person. So
yeah, we even know one like this, right? That moved from the UK, moved to Rome, found her partner. Currently, they're thinking of living there. She's pregnant. We love it. It's a love story of an international connection.
Yeah, and it happens all the time. It could be love connection, friendships. You could find work in different places. Yeah. It's all that. It's just to say that all those prejudice and things you heard before, you've seen in movies, in TV shows, read online, on Facebook. Listen, we love Facebook, but there's a lot of crap there. And based on, private experiences of private people, and that's okay. It's theirs. It doesn't mean it will be the same for you.
Yeah. So it's okay to listen to other people's experiences and to learn from it. But look at it always with a very critical eye, okay? We always play a part in situations that are happening in our lives. It's never happening to us, it's happening for us. That's what our belief at least. And we always play a part in it. So if we had a negative experience that we find the rush to go online and share to everyone how this or this group of people, this or this country, this or this situation is so bad. When you, as an external observer, look at this post, look at this story, look at this information that you just got, a blog or whatever, have a very critical eye to think, what's the truth behind it? Is it 100% true? Is it true for everyone in this situation? Or is it a personal experience that now you're aware of, you will pay attention to? Yeah, we cannot completely forget about it, but come with enough critical eye to be but I want to try for myself. Before I make a decision, I want to make my own assumptions based on what I see, what I feel, what I experience, and not just what other people are telling me that I should assume it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's very important what Gal just said. Make it your own experience, because this is your life abroad. You are going to move abroad, or you already did. It's about you, It's not about another people experience that they had maybe a few years ago or even yesterday. It doesn't really matter. You are different. You're another person. Your situation is more or less different. You are a different person. The whole situation is different if you think about it this way. So make it your own. And, after, if you want to go and tell it to someone else, great, but be open-minded enough to tell them, listen, that's my experience, this is how I experience it, you try you and see how it goes,
Exactly. Do you have any example from your life that you had a prejudice and discovered later on that it didn't help you having this, or it wasn't really true?
Yeah, actually, French bureaucracy, all I heard before my move abroad is French bureaucracy is so hard. You have to be really patient, and it takes a lot of time. It doesn't make sense. There's nothing you can do about it. And when I hear there is nothing you can do about it, I'm like, wait a minute. Ding, ding, ding. I don't like hearing this. It's never true for me. Okay? This is like our thing. We made it this way that this phrase, there's nothing you can do about it, is never true for us, I think.
Yeah. You can always do something about it.
Yeah.
You can always do something about everything, and everything is possible. So
yeah, that's our way,
Yeah.
This is what we think, and you are free to think whatever you like. But anyway, when I came to France, maybe you've heard it before, my husband didn't have his visa, and it was COVID, there was nothing open, you couldn't talk to anyone, in person, and we were like, okay, so what are we going to do? And I remember we were sitting here with a couple of your friends, Israeli friends, and they were like, oh my God, how could you do that? You have to be really on top of the things and do that and send this file to this person and to that. And I'm like, okay, calm down. And if we don't, so what? So they will send you back to Israel and you will be separated from your family. And I'm like, okay, well, calm down. This is, my situation. There's no need for you to stress about it. And I was like, okay, so maybe we should, get things going on, check things. So we started checking how we're going to do that. And we actually reached for help. And it looked easy, simple. But it took us a year, to get a visa.
Yeah.
A year. And every time I got, all the papers back, there were papers missing, and you need to bring this and all kinds of meetings. And I remember, there's nothing you can do about it. And sometimes physically it's true, okay? Sometimes there is nothing physical, technical we can do about it, but wait. But what we can do, and what we did actually, my husband and I, we could, wait and be anxious and be stressed and say, we hate French bureaucracy. French people are so, closed and arrogant, and you can't talk to them and you can't approach them and all this kind of thing. Or we could wait, say, okay, there is nothing technical we could do. We did everything we needed to do, we had to do.
Yeah.
And now we could wait, calmly until time comes, and they will call us. They said they will call us, so they will. There's no point in, calling and sending emails and being a pain in the ass. So we did. We waited, and we got, invited to the, how do you say prefecture? It's not the police.
It's not the city hall. It's where you get your visa.
Never mind.
Whatever.
So we got called there, and actually, I gotta tell you, they were so nice to us. Mm-hmm. So nice, and they asked for a couple of more papers. We brought everything, as they asked. We did everything comme il faut.
By the book.
And they were so nice. The lady in front of us, she said, is everything okay? Do you have any questions? Like, this is the procedure now. You have to do this, and you have another appointment, and you will be called. And then she told us, you will be called again in like a couple of weeks, and maybe more than a month. Okay, so you're here a couple of weeks, maybe more than a month. For me, it was like between 4 to 8 weeks. That's how I understood it. And actually, they called out after 6 weeks. So it was, but someone else would have heard, we will call you in a couple of weeks. Okay, you said couple of weeks. 2 weeks has passed and you haven't called. What do we do? French people, they take so much time, So we waited, and actually today he got his visa.
Woohoo!
So it's not true that French bureaucracy is impossible, okay? Yes, it's, not simplified for the average person, but it's true for every person, even for the French people, or, we come from Israel. Israeli bureaucracy is not...
It's a nightmare as well.
I think... Please let me know if in your country bureaucracy is so easy that you can do it like this and it's super fast. Please let us know.
Let us know.
We really want to know.
Where is it super easy and super smooth and everything goes just like you plan? Simplify. If you have the country, I want to hear about it. Type it in the comments.
Yes. And actually, I gotta tell you, and that's something I practiced a lot. And from my experience, when you approach people that are working in, bureaucracy, government, everything, they don't have a lot of positive interaction with people.
True.
That's like maybe a prejudice, but from my experience, a lot of people that are coming to them are anxious, not nice. They want to get answers and they want things get done. So they don't get a lot of positive interaction. So when you come with a smile and you approach a person and you say, hey, how are you today? They're surprised at first, but you will get a positive interaction back. It never happened to me that I came to someone with a smile and they were like, yeah, sit down. I don't want to hear, shut up. Never happened to me. Never, ever, ever.
There's a simple explanation to this. We are mirrors of one another. So when you come with a grumpy face, you get a grumpy face. When you come with a stressful face, you get a stressful situation. When you come with a smile and confidence and knowing it's going to be okay, whatever it's going to happen in this situation, you will get a smile back, confidence, and it's going to be okay. So that's what you are. You have the power to decide how the next couple of minutes, hours, months, years of your life are going to have to be by deciding how you are entering to a room, how you are approaching it, what you do, what's your energy when you do things. And it's all based on what you thought 30 seconds before entering this room.
Yes, absolutely. And I invite you to try now. Just pay attention, be aware of the way you enter a room and approach someone. When you're stressed, when you're feeling anxious, when you're not certain about the situation and you come, it happens to me as well. I come and I apologize.
Yeah.
Sorry, I want to ask a question. No, why am I sorry?
Yeah.
I invite you to be aware of this and see how you could maybe change your approach to things, to situations, to people, okay? And don't apologize for entering. Don't, bring your stress to someone else. Don't bring, this negative vibe. Try to, stand up, smile, maybe make a little joke, And if you're stressed, say it, Yeah, it happens to me a lot, this past year, that to say, I'm sorry, I really don't get what you're saying. Could you, say it maybe slower or in different words so I can understand what you're saying. And I laugh a little bit, you know. I'm not laughing at myself, making a fool of myself, but you know, it's like, you know, I'm new here, so my French is not 100%, but, and then people are immediately
welcoming.
Yeah, and they are helping because, you know, of course there are jerks, but it's true everywhere in the world. Again, tell me if in your country there are no jerks. Please let us know. We really want to know. Maybe it's the number one country
In the world.
no jerks and bureaucracy made simple. But actually, I don't think it's true because, you know, people are people everywhere. There are bad people and nice people, and there are, you know, jerks and racists, and it's everywhere.
It's for everything. But if you decide to look for the generalization, this is what you'll find. But if you decide to look for the exception, this is what you'll find. So it's up to you what you want to find.
Yeah.
If you're listening to us right now, whether you're from, no matter where you are, right? There are so many pre-assumptions about your country, about your population, about your gender, about your age, about your career, about people loves to make those assumptions and generalizations about everything and everyone. But is it true 100% about you? Is everything that everyone is saying out there true about you? I know for a fact that when people talk about Israelis, when people talk about women, when people talk about blonde women, when people talk about like self-development women, they say a lot of things. Well, 95% of them are not true about me. And I know it for a fact. So if this is true about me, well, probably 95% of what I hear about other people, about other places, about other situations, about other experiences won't be true.
Yeah.
So I can look for those 5% that are going to prove me for sure that it is true. Or I can decide to look for the 95% that will prove me that it was completely BS.
You know, I talked to a Spanish girl a couple of weeks ago in one of our Real Expat Talk, and she told me that when she came to France and she talked English to some of the people, they were sure she was English from the UK, and she said, "No, I'm from Spain." And they were like, "Nah, you can't be from Spain. Spanish people don't speak English." And she was like, "Well, here I am, Spanish girl standing in front of you, speaking English, great English. Why do you mention that Spanish people don't speak English in front of me?" And he was like, "Yeah, because I hear Spanish people don't speak English." Well, what bullshit it is, you know, because this girl is speaking English in front of you. And you know, French people the same. You know, we hear so many people, how do you speak to French people in English? They don't speak English.
I want to share with you, and if you listen to other episodes of it, I went last weekend, and here is like a very recent experience, okay? So I went on a weekend with about 40 French persons, and it was the first time I got myself in a situation where most of the people are French, like 98% of them. We were literally two non-French person in this group. And my friend that came with me, her French is not great. She's from Poland. She has a great English. She learned French, but she's not confident enough in her French, so she's not practicing it enough. So it's not a great, amazing, fluent French, but she speaks French. And we decided before going, we said like, listen, we're gonna make the effort to speak as much French as possible, even if it's gonna be slower, even if it's going to be a little bit like uncomfortable. We're gonna make the effort because most of them are French. And let's face it, French people don't speak English, right? Like that's the assumption. Like French people won't speak English. We won't be able to speak English with them. So we came in and spoke French. And it was great. We spoke French, I spoke French, my friend spoke French. But over like as the hours went by and the days, because we were there for 3 days, we had more and more interactions in English. And those French people that they don't have an amazing English, so as we don't have an amazing French, made the effort. So some conversation were in French and some conversation became in English. And then like, because we were speaking with 2 people in English that we actually discovered used to live in London, went on a trip to the United States, worked in Singapore and learned English on the way. And they now actually miss practicing French English because they are not doing it. We started speaking English, and guess what? Like after 10 minutes, I looked around myself and be like, oh my God, there are like 15 people around now speaking English. Like everyone started. So the only way it was possible is because one, we made an effort to try and to interact. But the second thing is that we didn't come with an assumption that no one there is going to understand what we're saying, or that no one there is going to be able to speak with us in English or in French. Everyone is going to be able to interact. We'll make the efforts and they will make. Remember what I said before about the mirror. If you make an effort, if you come into your room with a big smile and you're willing to make the effort, well, guess what? That's what you're going to get in return. And it's exactly what happened to me this weekend.
Yes, absolutely. And I think maybe some of you right now that are listening to us or watching us, you think your girls are so naive, There are bad people there. There are people that don't speak English. There are bureaucrats.
True.
It's true, yes.
True.
And it's not that we are naive. It's more that we choose to focus our attention on the things that can work for us, on our experience, making it our own, on trying new things, on being open-minded. And I think this open-minded thing is something that is common to a lot of expat women that we talk to, that are feeling great when they live abroad and have the life that they want and a life they can actually enjoy. Something that is common to all of them is that they are open-minded. And I suggest you, try this thing. It's not being naive, it's being open-minded. It's coming, with a blank page. You're coming to a new country. You think you know, but actually you don't. And that's okay, it's okay to not know. It's a bit scary, okay, to not know. You might think, oh, it makes me stupid, but actually no, it makes you smarter.
Yeah.
Okay, it really makes you smarter to say, hey, I'm coming to a new place. I don't really know how the people are here. I don't really know the culture. I don't know the language. I don't know the food. But hey, I'm willing to try.
Yeah. And don't, as Maayan said, if you're open-minded, and I totally agree with that, then the next thing is don't make assumptions and generalizations based on one's particular experience that you're currently having. So if you did go to a paperwork office and you needed to take care of your visa and you stumbled upon a not nice person and it was hard for you, does it make everyone this way? No, it makes this person, as Maayan said, a bad person, a person that doesn't speak the language, a person that is not serving you the way you wished you would have been served. But it doesn't make everyone this way. Just as you have bad days, other people have them too. Just as you are living currently in a country where not everyone understands exactly your culture and exactly your way of doing things, well, this is exactly the same thing for where you're going. So if you're open to learn and try, as Maayan said, be also open to accept that it's not about being naive. It's about putting things back into their place and perspective. One situation, one experience doesn't make everything this way. It doesn't mean all the time it's going to be horrible. It doesn't mean everything is going to be great. It works on the both sides, okay? But
let me tell you, in Paris, not all boulangeries are great. Not all the croissants are so tasty. It's not true. The other way around as well.
Yeah. So it's about that. It's about understanding, having an enough critical eye to things that other people are saying, and with yourself, be honest enough to say, listen, I actually had this experience, but it doesn't mean it has to to be transferred to all your other experiences that you're gonna have, because otherwise, it's not gonna be that good of experiences you wish you would have had, and you can have it if you decide to look at those 5%.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really, like we said before, really invite you, just to, for the next couple of days, weeks, try be aware of how you enter a situation, how you react to people, how do you approach people, even if you are before you move, and you're starting to deal with some paperwork maybe, or you're looking online for schools or apartments and it seems, impossible maybe sometimes. Try just be aware of how you are in the situation and what can you do differently to make it a better experience for yourself. Yeah. Because, this move abroad is about you. It's about having the life that you want, that you can enjoy. It's not about anything else if you think about it. And if you've been following us enough time, you know that we really, really believe that life abroad should be about creating the life that you want. It's not about struggling every day. It's not about seeing all the challenges all the time, crying alone at night on the cold days. It's not about that. It's about improving your life, creating a life you can actually enjoy. This is really what we believe in, and we know it's possible because we've made it, and we are sure you can do it as well.
Yes.
So we really want to thank you for being with us. We hope you had a great time and that it was valuable to you. And if you have some questions or you want to share some of the things, your thoughts with us, please send us a message. You can comment on this video or podcast, or send us a message on Instagram. We always love hearing from you.
Yes. And on this note, go and discover the world and do things that are different and see for yourself. Yeah. Don't let other people's assumptions and...
Be open-minded. Be open-minded.
Yes.
It's very important.
Yeah. Have an amazing day. Enjoy your coffee.
Bye.
Bye.